the singers and things before I get into the topic at hand. Okay, so nose is itching, child. No, I do not snort coke. My name is not Ronnie Ortiz. But anyway, okay, so let's get into Rihanna. So she did yet another interview with Vogue magazine. You know, it seemed like she does one every year, even though we haven't heard her put out music in like maybe, 2 years? So she sat down with Vogue and basically talked about a lot of stuff. So she's basically promoting her Savage X Fenty lingerie launch, and the 30-year-old gave us an insight on what she's been up to. So basically, one of the rather revealing tidbits is the status of her friendship/relationship with Drake. So what she said was that she was uncomfortable with Drake's speech about her at the 2016 MTV Video Music Awards, where Drake admitted he'd been in love with her for years. I guess while she was with Chris Brown. Who knows? And that sounds a little creepy and stalkerish. But I digress. So she basically said, waded through that speech was probably the most uncomfortable part, she told Vogue. I don't like too many compliments. I don't like to be put on blast. Which is probably why she probably prefers, being private and not having, people all up in her business. So she said, they were linked romantically and all this other stuff, but I felt like they never really were out and upfront about their relationship. Like, I always saw them, like, if they were about and something would be hugged up or it'd be in an intimate public setting, but I never saw, like, they did anything where they would be considered boyfriend and girlfriend. Quite frankly, I think their relationship was something or another, like, they were in town. They always wound up in the same place together. Maybe they wound up crossing paths in New York. What you up to? Or in LA, what are you up to? Or in Paris, what are you up to? And they kind of just hooked up and fucked. Or maybe spent a couple of nights in a hotel together and then they went upon their separate ways. I never looked at Drake and Rihanna as being someone who was in a full-on fledged real relationship, like a boyfriend-girlfriend type thing. Or maybe they were, just that they just didn't put it out there in public for us to see. I don't know. I'm just going by my perception. So, she also confirmed that she's in a relationship. She won't say who is, but she's been in a relationship with Saudi billionaire businessman Hassan Jamil. I would say he's quite interesting. I'm a good-looking guy. I need to find me one of the most Saudi businessmen. I'm sure there's a couple of homosexuals out there like that. But she says they don't have a friendship right now, but we're not enemies either. It is what it is. So it's probably just like, they're cordial. She sees him out in the streets and, hey, how are you? And keeps it moving. It's not something that they're necessarily interested in. I know, and a lot of people's calling her fat, but I've seen the recent photos of Miss Rihanna, and she looks snatched. So shout out to her. She looks really good in that little one-piece bathing suit that I saw that she has that she had on. So shout out to Rihanna, good luck to you. And also I'm hearing that she's working on a reggae album, which I actually think is a great idea, because I've always thought that listening to Rihanna over the years, one of the things I've always fairly enjoyed about listening to Rihanna was listening to the fact that she always does the reggae thing in a lot of her records, and that's always been a thing that has kept her as a standout from all the other artists that have tried to emulate her, including Beyonce. Let's talk about it, because remember, Rihanna was the only one out here in these streets who was doing reggae music and kind of dance hall and bringing that vibe into her soul long before everybody tried to jump on the bandwagon. So, So, shout out to Rihanna for that, and I think that has always separated her from these other girls. So, having her do a full-on reggae record, I think would be good. But I would also like to hear her kind of incorporate other Caribbean sounds into it as well. Don't just do a full-on Bob Marley reggae record. Like, I don't want to feel like from the 12, 13 tracks you may put on there that I just got to sit, smoke a blunt through the whole damn thing, and that's it. I need some excitement. Like, give me less Anti. And I mean, I like what you did with Anti, but I want a little more fun. I want some of them dance hall rhythms. I want some of the, like, even incorporate some of the Latin rhythms and stuff in there. Like, just that whole Caribbean island vibe. Like, that's what I want. Like, a good on full-fledged summer album. That's what I want from Miss Riri. So I'm looking forward to the new music. I actually like Anti. I know a lot of people didn't like it, but I like that it was different, and that she didn't just focus on, oh yeah, I have to give you the hits, because I think too many people focus on, oh, this song is not hot, oh, it ain't popping, oh, it's not giving me this and giving me that. It was a different record, and it was refreshing that she gave us something different besides your typical pop record. So shout out to Miss Riri and good luck to what she's doing. Okay, so speaking of that, let's get into Ashley Simpson and Evan Ross. So apparently these two are working on a reality show together called Ashley and Evan, and she's kind of kept a low profile for the past 10 years, after she had that embarrassing lip sync debacle at what was it, SNL. She kind of just disappeared. I actually like the album Bittersweet World. Like, look, don't hate on me. I actually liked Ashley Simpson songs before the jig was up, and she did whatever. But I did like some of, I love a pop record, even if I'm not particularly caring about it's like, even though I'm going back and forth with my engineer making these faces as I'm talking. But it's hilarious. So yeah, they're coming out with a new show on the E! Network called Ashley and Evan, and they talked to Entertainment Tonight about it, and they're talking about, well, will the show affect their marriage? Because, if you believe Wendy Williams and all these other people out here, they always say that when you do these reality shows, it affects your marriage, it's a cause for divorce, blah, 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 so on and so forth. That reality shows of wreck relationships and that sort of thing. And so Evan basically said, I think in any relationship in this industry, there's stress on relationships. I think that's reality, but in no way do I think that if a relationship is meant to be together and a marriage is meant to be together, that anything like a show or being in the industry can change that. And they said, similar to how MTV's The Ashley Simpson Show documented the singer's debut album, the new E! Show will focus on the musical couple's forthcoming duet album. So basically saying that we decided to make this album out of love and kind of going back to duets when that was such a thing. So basically they're trying to be the Sonny and Cher of this era, where they're trying to put out something together. We'll see if that works. I don't think Ashley has the most spectacular voice. I think that she could figure out a way that works for her, that whole hoarse, raspy thing. Kind of like when I was watching the Brandy interview that she did, and she was talking about a lot of stuff pertaining to her weight gain, saying that if she was pregnant, I guess she's an elephant because she's been pregnant for 2 years. She said that she's been on a foodcation. Shout out to those of us who have been on a foodcation. I've been on a foodcation for the past year. I have not been in the gym working out as crazily as I used to. I've actually gotten to a point where it's just like I took a break from the gym. There's just been a lot going on in my life, and I like eating and I like doing other stuff. So I got a little belly and I don't care. I'm living in my moment, but at least I still got a shape that I could pull off or whatever. I got my little arm. Oh, I'm sitting there looking at myself on the camera. I got my little arms and this and the other. But but it's like, I like food. I'm not going to shy away from food. I applaud Brandy for being like, you know what? I love me, and I know, and I'm about to get that same place where she is as well, where it's just talking about like, I know soon I'm working on an album. I'm going to have to get out there, and I like my ass, and I like my hips, and I like all the things that I didn't have before, but I want to get my abs right. I want to get my abs nice and so I feel like, Brandy, you don't need to stop eating bread and carbs and all that stuff. Just work on your abs. Just do like cardio, because I realize the thing that works best when you want to keep your booty and your other stuff, you continue to eat them carbs, but just do cardio, because cardio will keep maybe I would say lift weights, but don't try to look like China. Like, you don't want to be buff like her. But you just do cardio and to keep the abs toned up and nice. Just work on the stomach and this and the other. And that's what she said she wants to focus on. She wants to lose like 25 pounds, and she basically just wants her stomach to be tight. But everything else, she wants to keep her ass, and she wants to keep all the other stuff, because she didn't have that when she was younger. And I do feel like there's a pressure on girls in Hollywood where it's like you got to be a certain size. It's become a thing where people don't even want to acknowledge it. But there's pressure on us men too to be in amazing shape. Look, there was a joke that was even put in Infinity War, where they started making fun of Chris Pratt for talking about he's comparing his body to Thor's body, which was hilarious, because we all know, like, Chris Pratt, before he started playing Star-Lord in the movies, he was a chunky monkey until he hit the gym, and now he's like this sexy, stocky hunk of. And that guys his size is kind of the guys I kind of go for anyway. Like, I love big men with meat on their bones. I don't want you being like overly muscular or overly skinny. Like, I like you in between. Like, I want somebody who's like works out, but they're still like cuddly, and you can squeeze their little bellies and this, that, and their butts or whatever. And I'm getting a little too much into my own personal shit. But I'm just saying, like, the Chris Pratt types is something I usually go for. I'm not saying, oh, it's white, but just guys who are works out, but a little, mushy in the middle, like a Snickers bar. So I go on to say that, you know what? Getting back to the whole Ashley and Evan thing, so I can move on to these other topics, because I realize I only got like 35 minutes left in this show before I have to say goodbye. I feel like the only way a relationship, like going into a relationship, if going into before the reality show came calling, if your relationship is messy before then, going on TV only ignites that. It's just like what they always say, like when you're someone who's a broke asshole, if you get money, you're still an asshole just with money. So I say all that to say that it has nothing to do with a TV show makes you a dick. If you're a dick beforehand, you're going to be a dick when you become famous and have all that other money. So I don't think a reality TV show can break up a relationship. I think your relationship is doomed from the beginning. Going into TV is only going to shine a light and have that mirror reflect what was going on in your relationship that you was trying to sweep under the rug and didn't want to deal with. The TV only heightens the situation. So that's all I wanted to say about that. Speaking of which, I'm about to get into something about Drag Race in a minute. But before that, I want to get into this real quick. Jada Pinkett Smith is revealing that she ended her 17-year-old feud with Gabrielle Union. First of all, I didn't even know that she was in a beef with Gabrielle, but she felt the need to talk about it. She was promoting her new Facebook Watch talk show, Red Table Talk, that she's doing with her daughter Willow and her mother. Jada revealed that up until recently, she and Gabrielle have been secretly feuding for 17 years. She says, the show is deeply personal, telling Tanika, I have a really touching episode with Gabrielle Union. We haven't been on the best of terms for 17 years, and we have a reconciliation. When the producers said we want to do a girlfriend show, her name just kept coming up. It just couldn't be anything else. When Tanika asked if the beef was over, Jada said, oh, definitely. We don't even know how it started. Well, I'm wondering if it may have had something to do with maybe because, lest we forget, Gabrielle starred in a little movie called Bad Boys 2, where she played the sister of Martin Lawrence and the girlfriend of Will Smith in the movie. So I'm wondering if maybe something may have transpired between those two during that time when they were in there together, and now she's feeling a certain kind of way about. There was something that transpired, because remember there was a time where they were trying to say that Gabrielle Union was one of the names that may have had something to do with. Oh no, it wasn't her. It was Sanaa Lathan. I'm starting to get those two confused. But and I said all black women look alike, but they both brown skin girls with a weave. So, and you know, black don't crack with those girls. The women of a certain age with the same length weave, dark skin, whatever. So, I don't know. So Monday, May 7th is when Red Table Talk is gonna premiere on Facebook Watch. I'm noticing that's the future with stuff now. Like, you don't even need a network and all this other stuff to do shows. You can go on YouTube, you can go on Facebook. There's a lot of people like, look, I'm doing my own show right now on Facebook Live. So as I'm doing a radio show plus a video visual, so I'm doing all that, and I'm going to upload it on YouTube later. So that's like a beautiful thing. Like, you can do things on the internet now. You don't even need the middleman. Technology has become this wonderful thing. So shout out to that, and I'm glad they've done their thing. So the nominees have been announced for this year's MTV Movie and TV Awards, and Black Panther. Shout out to the people of Wakanda, because they're leading the pack with 7 nominations. On the TV side, Stranger Things emerged from the upside down with 6 nods. Stranger Things is now shooting they're shooting their season 3, which is going to premiere next year. Love, Simon also got some love in the Best Kiss category, but the high school drama will duke it out with other popular couples from Riverdale, Jane the Virgin, Stranger Things, and Ready Player One. Actually, what shows I watch? Well, I watched Riverdale. Stranger Things, I've seen all seasons of that. Ready Player One, I saw that, but I don't think their relationship, that little kiss that they had in the movie, is going to rival that. I have a strange feeling Love, Simon is probably going to win that, because it was such a huge hit at the box office, so I can see that. Dan Levy was shown some love in Best Comedic Performance category for his scene-stealing work on Schitt's Creek. Never seen that show, but it's the Best Reality Series category. RuPaul's Drag Race has been nominated for Best Reality Series and will go up against some of the more popular reality shows like Love and Hip Hop, The Kardashians, and The Real Housewives. I don't know which season it's going up against. But I feel like out of Love and Hip Hop, the Kardashians, and the Real Housewives, RuPaul's Drag Race should definitely win that award because Love and Hip Hop is tired. I don't even watch that damn show anymore. Like, I can't even bring myself to watch Atlanta. That show is so overproduced and so fake and so, like, y'all got like 7 cameras capturing everything all at once. Y'all got a good old high definition. Everybody's beat for the gut. Like, it just seems so fake watching Love and Hip Hop. I can't with that show anymore. Even with the whole thing with Rashida putting tape down the, like, splitting up the house. I'm like, really? We supposed to believe that you and Kurt, like, I don't believe nothing that comes off of that show. The only thing I would possibly believe is Tommy being a damn alcoholic. That's the only thing I could believe that comes off of that damn show. And I know people are like, oh, I thought you said you don't watch the show. Bitch, I've seen commercials. Like, a lot of times when I watch my television, because I don't watch TV, I watch everything on my laptop, I have to sit through fucking ads and commercials. So therefore, I'm stuck watching a Love and Hip Hop commercial when I'm in the middle of watching RuPaul's damn Drag Race on my laptop in live stream. So, there. I don't keep up with them goddamn Kardashians. And the Real Housewives, I'm like, which one? Like, the most recent one that ended. Beverly Hills is still doing their reunion. The Real Housewives of Atlanta just ended, so I don't even know which one. So I'm hoping that the Queens of Drag Race will take home their award. So yeah, shout out to them. June 18th at 9 p.m. is when the MTV Movie and TV Awards will air, and the person who will be hosting is none other than Tiffany Haddish. So shout out to her. Speaking of Drag Race, Tyra Sanchez went on social media again to threaten violence against RuPaul's DragCon, the annual drag convention that is about to take place in LA from May 11th to the 13th. So that's next week when this is about to all go down. The second DragCon threat was made on Sanchez's Facebook page as well as an event earlier this week. She wound up saying, excuse me. Second warning, do not attend RuPaul's DragCon on May 12, 2018. Don't say I didn't warn you. I hate to say I told you so, she said on Facebook this past Monday. However, we also heard that she is threatening for something ominous to happen at another time, too. A source who asked to remain anonymous told us that Sanchez was at an event earlier this week telling people out of drag they shouldn't be at the LA Convention Center on May 11th at 4 p.m. So not only is she giving locations, but she's giving dates. This is how I know this bitch is full of shit. Because first of all, if you was about some shit, you wouldn't have said nothing. But I feel like she's all talk, and this is bullshit. But I also feel like, at the same time, we should take this seriously. Because, we have the Pulse massacre that happened. We had the shooting in Florida with the kids and all of the stuff. Like, we should take things like this seriously. And I'm about to get into the whole thing about Pulse nightclub in a few minutes because there was a guy that something happened to him and he said some dumb shit that I need to get into in a minute. I feel like, Tyra is like the latest. She's like a big old internet troll where she's just going on saying bullshit for attention. And I feel like, girl, stop it with the buffoonery because you're only making it worse on yourself. You're making threats against DragCon. You're officially banned. Nobody's going to ever work with you. Not only, and I've said this in last week's show, not only is DragCon not going to mess with you, but you probably won't be able to get a gig at any nightclub. Like, who's going to fuck with Tyra Sanchez? I don't even think she can go out of the country. And like, I feel like the way that, and this maybe people feel like it's going too far, but I feel like the same people that's out here bitching and moaning about Kathy Griffin over holding up a head, I feel like she should be probably treated the same way. Like, you're making threats against families, men, women, little kids. They all go to these conventions. So, and this is also the livelihood of so many queens who have come off this show. And not only that, but there are other companies that go to DragCon and hope they'll have booths there. A lot of designers, a lot of gay designers go there and have booths. So it's not just girls from Drag Race who are there with their booths promoting their product. There are a lot of people who are within our community that go to these booths that have booths set up that make money at DragCon. So even people from, Dragula, that show, this is how they make their bread and butter as well. So it's not just girls from Drag Race. I'm wondering if they'll have some of the Thailand queens there as well. Could this be an opportunity for them to kind of get themselves out there and kind of come into the American market? So, Tyra, I'm going to keep an eye on you, and I'll keep abreast of all of this and see if anything pops off next weekend when DragCon officially starts. Speaking of which, a contestant, Gia Gunn, is launching a crowdfunding campaign to cover the cost of her gender transition. She competed on season 6 of Drag Race. She came out as trans last March. So her coming out was years in the works, and Gunn knew she was trans when she was 5 years old. She says, once I discovered transitioning to the opposite gender was an option, I committed to that journey and dreamed of modifying my body to match my true self. This is what she wrote on her GoFundMe page. I spent the last 10 years working hard towards my journey of self-discovery and am grateful to all who have generously shared your continuous support and love, which has allowed me to reach a point of genuine happiness. So now, on a crowdfunding page, Gunn broke down the unexpected expenses, including surgery costs, hospital fees, and post-op care. The cost total is about $30,000, something she can't afford out of pocket. Unfortunately, the surgery is very expensive, especially to do it safely and successfully. There are times in our life when we need to ask for help, and for me, this is one of those times. So, shout out to Gia. I guess what she's trying to do is she's trying to get they show her in the in her video hashtag 30 days of transition, holding up breasts, different types of boobs. I guess so she's gonna get breast implants. She hasn't got any. I mean, she does look very feminine on the outside, so maybe what it is she's taking hormones, but she wants to get breast implants. She wants to get all this stuff. I do wonder, is she not working as much as the other girls, or is it that, going back to the conversation where we had a couple of, what was it, like maybe a month ago, where, where we were talking about RuPaul and the whole thing about trans people performing in drag. Is that the reason why she hasn't really been out here performing? Because I know, like, she's been on the bill at a couple of drag events. I remember the last time I saw Gia was when she did this drag thing with Mimi on First, where she was basically the creator of it, and they had Alyssa Edwards, they had a whole bunch of other girls, and that was the first time I actually saw Aquaria perform. That happened about maybe 2 years ago, I believe, when that whole thing transpired, and that was the first time I actually saw Aquaria perform on stage. Like, they had picked girls from different states who would be the opening act, and out of all the girls from Drag Race who performed, and I believe there was one person who wasn't on Drag Race that performed, but she was a known queen. Aquaria was actually the opening act on that show from New York. So, I say all this to say is that maybe because she's saying that she's transgender, she hasn't been able to get enough money to perform and to kind of be, to make the money to take care of the money for all the other stuff. So, they're saying so far in one day, she's raised more than $2,600 of her $30,000 goal. So I say best of luck to you, girl. I'm sure you'll make your money, and when I can get some coins scraped together, I'll donate to your cause. Because I think it's vitally important that people get to be the person on the outside that they are on the inside. Or maybe what it is, maybe we need to see, like, I think it'd be a great idea if maybe Gia documents her transition and see if she can raise some money via that. Like, get somebody to film her and her all this and inspire other girls and then that sort of thing. I think that there's an idea. So if anybody out there knows Gia, like, put it out there in the universe. Whenever I tweeted her and stuff, she tweets back. So maybe I'll put that out there and send that to her. One of the things that bothered me this week, and I don't want to get into this too long because I know, like, we have 20 minutes left in the show and there's something I want to get into. This past Thursday's episode of Drag Race, where the Vixen felt the need to go in on Eureka and basically say that I have never seen such a level of unprofessionalism as I have watching Eureka, and it baffles me that you guys enjoy her so much. It really has been very difficult working in an environment with her because she takes all the air out of the room. Meanwhile, she took all the air out of the room during Untucked, when it was Monique's moment, because she was about to lip sync for her life against the Vixen. And she should thank Monique for not knowing the words to the song Cut to the Feeling by Carly Rae Jepsen. So which saved her ass because she was up in there doing cartwheels and kept a wig on and those other stuff. But Monique was a mess. And you know what? This is what they like on Drag Race. They like girls out here who are best because it makes it easier for them to chop a bitch and send her home. But I feel like the Vixen has turned herself into the most polarizing queen on the show since Fifi O'Hara. Because this idea that I get the whole thing, I came to fight, and having that attitude and this and like being defensive, and I understand like how, and I was with you, girl, when it came to the whole thing about how white queens are treated versus black queens are treated. And for you to go and be like, you know what, I'm gonna profit off of white guilt when you imply this, or you're insecure in your own shit, because I knew she was gonna do horrible at Snatch Game. I said this shit days before. I said what I said was, and I do take it back on one of them, I said the people who I feel like is going to be in the bottom, I said I don't think the Vixen's going to do well, I don't think Aquaria is going to do well, and I don't think that Cameron Michaels is going to do well. And I guess I was wrong about two of them. I was wrong about Cameron because I felt like Cameron's too quiet and she focuses too much on, like, she's not really bubbly and out. Like, I don't think you have to be, like, you gotta be, like, you have to make your presence known and you gotta have this big personality. But I feel like as they start to chip away at the girls, the strong contenders, Cameron Michaels might be the last one standing in regards of the weaker girls. Like, she may be the last one that goes before they start focusing more on the girls who have stronger personalities. But I was wrong about Cameron because she did really well with the China, being China. She was safe. She coasted. It worked for her. And I was pleasantly surprised about Aquaria because I was like, Aquaria's not really standing out. Like, she's more of a look queen than she is with a personality. But she was smart because she picked Melania Trump to play on the episode, which I was like, perfect. How she went and picked her. And all the little things that she was dropping, I was like, this girl was smart, and how she did it with her. But the Vixen, I was like, she's so caught up in with the nasty attitude, and I've seen her in previous performances. She's not really good at the performance challenges. And so she stuck around for another time, and I feel like you can't go around just trying to be the angry black woman. That's only going to get you but so far. And you can blame it on the editing. You can blame it on all this other stuff. You can blame everybody else and say, well, Eureka could defend herself and said that, but I can't. Nobody said you couldn't defend yourself, but to sit and bully someone to the point of trying to diminish their star because you're so insecure in how you went in the challenge. First of all, who the hell told you to play Blue Ivy in Snatch Game when nobody has ever heard this child talk? Nobody knows what the hell she sounds like. You don't know, like, you could have pretty much taken it there with your perception on how a baby is. You don't sit there with an attitude like, Mommy, I don't want to hear that. Like, that's not how Blue Ivy is. Like, we've seen clips of Blue Ivy where she's like the parents are Claudia, stop. I don't want to hear y'all clapping. Like, so you could have played her up as the uppity, bougie 5-year-old. You could have did that. You could have been like, Miss, I'm thinking of so many ways you could have played up Blue Ivy, but you didn't take it there. So focus on your own bag before you start throwing shade at someone else. Okay, so let's move on to a guy who's going by the name of Hollywood Royalty. He's suing Viacom and saying that he was raped and that his reality TV show idea was stolen. So a man who describes himself as Hollywood Royalty and an it boy, I ain't never heard this motherfucker to begin with, but let's go into it, has filed a lawsuit against former MTV executive Brian Graydon, claiming Graydon used the prospect of a reality TV show idea in return for sex. Rovier Carrington, who says he is the great-grandson of Three Stooges star Mo Howard, filed the $100 million suit in New York Supreme Court. Carrington claims Graydon stole his idea for a gay dating show and destroyed any possibility of a career in the entertainment industry. He also alleges the two had a 2-year sexual relationship and that Graydon kept Carrington around by promising to get Graydon's ideas produced. Now, that part I believe, because I've heard stories about this Graydon guy that how he has gotten numerous guys jobs at Viacom via sex. That he has gotten them internships, that he has gotten them executive jobs, they, pay for play and all this other stuff. Like, I've heard stories about her. So the suit goes into detail about their alleged interaction, stating that Gray coming with Gray coming onto Carrington in a parked car after having dinner together. Carrington says Gray began kissing Carrington all over his face, neck, and mouth and became violent after the advance was rebuffed. The abruptness of Gray's personality from dinner until that moment completely took Carrington off guard, and he did not know how to act, says the complaint, according to the Hollywood Reporter. Gray indicated to Carrington that if he did not have sex with him, he would destroy any chance he had of building a career in the entertainment industry. The complaint alleges Gray blacklisted Carrington from doing any business with Viacom after Carrington would not sign a non-disclosure agreement, and that Carrington only began having sex with Graydon, whom he met on a gay dating app, in order to secure work at Viacom. So he felt the only way he was going to be able to get work is if he basically had sex with this guy. And the suit also alleges that Carrington pitched multiple reality shows centered around his own life, including one called The Life of a Trendsetter. The idea behind the project promised to follow good-looking kids from wealthy families living together in a home, spending their parents' money. Basically, that's called The Rich Kids of Beverly Hills, that was on E! With E.J. Johnson. I mean, hello, we already seen that show, Keeping Up with the Kardashians, bunch of rich kids doing nothing and making a lot of money off of doing nothing. I don't find shows like that interesting. Although I will say I do watch, I know some people are like, but you say you watch The Real Housewives. That to me is different. A lot of the people from The Real Housewives had their own money or were famous in their own right, were business people. Like Lisa Vanderpump had a series of businesses before she came on the show, and it helped expand her businesses. There's a lot of people who come on The Real Housewives who started out as regular wives devoted to their husbands, and The Real Housewives has afforded these women the ability to create their own brands and their own businesses from being on these shows. From Nene Leakes to Kyle Richards to, you had Erica Jane. I already knew who Erica Jane was long before she came on The Real Housewives, but she was a staple within the gay community. She had her own gay dance pop career popping off. Like, I knew her from One Hot Pleasure and all these other stuff before she came on the show. And then The Real Housewives helped elevate her to a bigger career where she's able to put out best-selling books and so many other things that she's been able to do. So that's what I liked about those shows. But I don't find people who are rich for no reason becoming more rich off of the back of a reality show. I don't find people sitting there spending their parents' money exciting. I really don't. But then what really gagged me was when I found out that the idea that he's saying that was stolen from him was the show that eventually became Finding Prince Charming, which we all saw was a show that ran on Logo back in 2016 and was the source of many a punchline. Graydon reportedly stopped working for MTV back at 2009, 5 years before the alleged abuse took place. So I'm wondering, was he no longer working at Viacom and that he was creating falsehoods, or was he able to sell those ideas to Viacom even though he was fired? So it's kind of interesting how that whole situation wound up working out. And I guess I'll keep you abreast of all this as it goes. I want to give a shout out to all those people that have finally woken up about R. Kelly and this whole Me Too moment and the Mute R. Kelly campaign that everybody's basically starting up. So people are basically saying time's up to him and his bullshit. So basically a statement from his camp is saying Kelly supports the pro-women goals of the Time's Up movement. We understand criticizing a famous artist is a good way to draw attention to these goals, and in this case, it is unjust and off target. We fully support the rights of women to be empowered to make their own choices. Time's Up has neglected to speak with any of the women who welcome R. Kelly's support, and it is rushed to judgment without the facts. First of all, you can't say rushing to judgment without the facts. Well, we all know for a fact that this man is notorious for sexual abusing young women. We saw the video where he pissed on the 14-year-old, Sparkle's niece. We know he was married to Aaliyah. We saw the receipts on that. She was 15 years old. So for him to say there's no receipts on it, and then for Wendy Williams to go on her show and imply that, you know what, there was a conversation that was had about this whole thing with him is ridiculous. That there was a conversation there that it was supposed to be off the record. You have to swear that, so it has to be something bad. R. Kelly is a known abuser of women. He's disgusting. He's a pervert, and his career should be shut down. I heard people in Detroit have chopped his music, only him and Kanye. There have been some radio stations that have stopped playing his music. Tom Joyner, I told you last week, stopped playing his music. So you know what? It's about time, and I'm glad people have finally woken up. Also, the Board of Governors of the Academy of Motion Pictures, Arts, and Sciences have voted to expel actor Bill Cosby and director Roman Polanski from its membership ranks. So the decision to remove Cosby and Polanski from the membership was made Tuesday, May 1st at a scheduled board meeting. So now they're no longer part of the narrative. I'm so glad that finally it's taken them to do this, but I have to say, because I was about to say, why is everybody going on Bill Cosby but not about anybody else? But then, of course, I had to shut up because they said they threw Roman Polanski in the narrative. This should have been done a long time ago with Roman Polanski, but better late than never, I guess. About that whole marriage thing I was talking about, Teen Wolf star Colton Haynes, marriage to celebrity florist Jeff Leatham, has now been reportedly over after they've been married 6 months. According to TMZ, the 29-year-old actor and the 46-year-old florist to the stars tied the knot in a glitzy ceremony officiated by Kris Jenner back in October. The star-studded ceremony included high-profile guests, including J.C. Tyler Ferguson, Chelsea Clinton, Leslie Grossman, and Sofia Vergara, along with her boo, Joe Manganiello. In the recent weeks, fans noticed that Haynes unfollowed Leatham on Instagram and removed photos of him from his page. The most recent shot of the pair is dated January 21st and was posted by Leatham to celebrate the anniversary of the day they met. Haynes has dropped husband from his Instagram profile as well as his hyphenated married name, Haynes Leatham. The marriage name currently remains on Leatham's page. Haynes most recently posted a new song he penned called Man It Sucks, and on the track, I listened to it, he sings, "Man, it sucks when I'm even wasting time writing this song, but you hurt me so damn bad. It's the only way I can move on." The lyrics also mention cheating drama and staying up all night with a bottle of wine, drunk with lonely tears. Also, it implies in the songs that he was traveling all over the world and feeling alone in hotel rooms, because here's the thing, Jeff is a celebrity florist, which means he's traveling 9 times out of 10. And one of the things I also said, that, you know whose marriage I really like and I applaud? Jeremiah Brent and his husband, Nate Berkus. I have to give it up to them because they figured out how to make their marriage work, and they have 2 kids. I'm not even going to get into the whole thing about the Duggar asshole who wanted to go in on them about being gay and all this other stuff, and how their marriage is reflected. Meanwhile, you got your brother-in-law over there fucked 2 of his damn sisters as a child, but that's okay with you. It's okay to fuck siblings, because clearly y'all don't have enough inbred motherfuckers run over in that family, but you're gonna go in on a gay couple who come from a loving home and have 2 children. So, I still to say, I'll applaud them because they figured out what to make themselves work. They're both interior decorators. They have a reality show, and they work together in a business. Here you have Colton Haynes, who's a young 29-year-old actor who literally came out as gay publicly a year prior to meeting Jeff. So I always say that when it comes to relationships, y'all need to come out here and learn to go through your whole phase before you try to settle down and marry someone who is 46 years old, has had plenty of time to marinate in his gayness, who has had enough time to go through his whole period, and before he could want to go out here and be married. But I feel like because gay marriage is a thing that is now a thing that you can do, I feel like people are jumping into it because it's literally like buying a new pair of Yeezys. I feel like it's literally people are looking at marriage like it's a fashion chic thing to do, rather than realize this is some serious shit. Like, if you're gonna get married, you have to realize what it is and what it takes to really be in a real marriage and what that entails. So I felt like Colton's marriage to Jeff was nothing more than a reason for you to get a bunch of likes on Instagram. I did not feel like this was something they were taking seriously. I feel like, look, Luann and Tom from the Real Housewives of New York marriage lasted longer than y'all, and that shit was 7 months. And we all knew from the beginning that bitch shouldn't walk down the aisle with him, even though Tom was clearly cheating on you and doing real ratchet shit on camera that we all saw that he was doing. You cannot turn a hoe into a housewife, as Ronnie said earlier. So, you were trying to make a situation work where you knew it wasn't going to work. Your husband was always traveling. He was too busy. And yeah, you get a couple of gigs every now and again on Arrow, which I saw you were on recently, and Colton put on some weight. Like, I noticed that. But it is what it is. Really quickly, because I wanted to get into this thing about the Pulse survivor. The one who, Luis Ruiz, a survivor of the Pulse nightclub shooting, which killed 49 people and left two of his best friends dead, has claimed that Jesus cured him of his homosexuality. In his post, he wrote, I should have been number 50. Going through old pictures of the night of Pulse, a memory were my struggles of perversion, heavy drinking to drown out everything, and having promiscuous sex that led to HIV. My struggles were real. The enemy had its grip on how God has taken me from the moment and has given me Christ, Jesus. I've grown to know his love in a deeper level. In this picture, okay, it's hard to read this because he's not really making sense in the way he's writing. Out of 49, my close friend on right and in back of me are, child, could you at least have proofread this shit before you posted it? Basically, he's feeling guilty because he lost two of his friends. He's feeling like all of this stuff because he got HIV. He got all this other stuff. That this is God basically punishing him for being a gay man. First of all, that ain't got nothing to do with it. Stop trying to be like this. It's that religious guilt. And that is one of the things that has always pissed me off about religion and all this other stuff where it promotes self-hatred amongst people in our community. Everybody knows there's living proof that says that being gay is not a choice. It is not something that is perverted or whatever. So this guy running around here acting like he's the Latino Andrew Caldwell, talking about he's been delivered when you haven't been. Stop with the bullshit. Stop with the fuckery because you want attention. This is dangerous to be putting out here for these little kids to be hearing, where you're sitting here talking about that gay is a choice and it's something you deliver yourself. If that's what you did, I'll give you a month before you back to suck dick in a bathroom stall somewhere, or you on Grindr trying to find you some trade. People have to go through their moments of transitioning, of getting out of that hatred bubble. And you need to probably be around people that can lead you to the right direction, which is you putting this up. You have to learn to love yourself. Go out there. You have to figure out who you are, love who you are as a person, and not put out here that you're a former homo, because there is no way you can deliver yourself from that. And shout out to Willem also for putting putting these Republicans on blast, because she went on whimsically volatile and revealed that she had sucked 8 Republican dicks and they paid him for sex when he was a teenager. Basically said he worked for an escort service called Premier back in 2000, and this was shortly after he emancipated himself from his parents at 16. The age of consent in Pennsylvania at the time and currently is 16. So he says, it was just like a fun period for me from 17 to 18 when I was a hooker. I liked it because being underage, I could also say to the guys, hey, if any of these pictures you took of me for extra money end up on the internet, I'm going to come after you for child porn. One said that he was mainly an oral girl, said that he had around 130 clients. He was paid $120 a client and kept around $85 of it. I fucked maybe 8 of them, he said. All the rest were blowjobs. I'm great at giving head. And then Katya also talked about she was paid the one time she paid for sex. So if you happen to go on SoundCloud, look up Whimsically Volatile. You can listen to the entire episode there. And that's that. Also, really quick, I want to give a shout out to Facebook, who's trying to jump into the whole bandwagon of Tinder and Grindr. Basically, it's saying that there are 200 million people on Facebook who list themselves as single, so clearly there's something to do there. So now, this is what Mark Zuckerberg said. So now he's trying to create a dating app through Facebook. Which I was going to say, where the fuck you been? Like, kind of people have been using Facebook as a hookup app long before y'all even came up with this idea. See how slow this motherfucker is at the wheel? Like, you know how many guys I've hooked up with on Facebook who slid into my DMs and my messenger and was talking about, this and that. I've slept with plenty of guys, and I feel like Facebook is a great way of meeting up. And I hate when I've had friends, Facebook ain't no hookup app. Like, why y'all trying to hook up through here? It told me from friends. They said the same shit on Adam for Adam and all these other places. Yet, here y'all are trying to secretly... Like, social media can be used for anything you want to use it for. You can't just sit around and talk about, well, this is what it's used for, and that you can only use it for this. You can use social media for whatever the hell you want to use it for. You can hook up with people on Instagram. You can hook up with people on Snapchat. You can hook up with people on Facebook. People have been doing it long enough. It's just now Facebook, I guess, is trying to figure out a way to try to compete and keep everybody, because, their stock's been dropping since all this other stuff has been happening. So Facebook's trying to find a new way to keep themselves relevant, even though one thing that irritated me, a friend of mine literally got blocked on his page for a month because he was talking about fisting, that he's into fisting with one of he's got two boos that he's dating with. They pretty much shut his thing down because somebody reported his page over that. And I feel like, I get the whole thing about showing bulges and stuff on social media, but if you're going to go after somebody, go after these people who are abusing animals on social media that runs in my timeline. People who are showing rape and murder and all this other shit. Go after them. Stop going after nudity and sex and people expressing themselves sexually. So I'm going to go on and say, you know what? I had to get that in real quick because we are out of time. Thank you all for listening. Tune in same time, same place next week. alldigitalradio.com, 2 to 4. Stay tuned right now for Comedy Rec, which is coming up at 4 p.m. Love you all for listening. Ciao, lovers.